Hello students, how are you all? I hope you are fit and fine at your home. Dear students, do you know why have I wear this mask? Yes, are you wearing mask nowadays? Yeah, can you tell me the reason behind wearing such kind of mask nowadays? Yes students, do not forget to comment your answer in the comment section. Okay student, let me tell you the answer of this question afterward. Let's learn something and we will try to find out answer of this question, why we are using mask nowadays. Okay? Yes, so let's learn. Hello students, how are you all? I hope you are fit and fine at your home. This video is for the students who are studying in 5th standard. Today we shall study Environmental Studies Part 1. In this subject, we shall study lesson number 23, Infectious Diseases and how to prevent them. Okay students? Students, reading is very important to learn anything. So, I shall read it for you. Listen to it carefully and try to understand it. Let's start with the questions asked on page number 121. Let's start. Can you tell? Question 1. When your friends fall while playing and get hurt, does anyone tell you, don't go near them? You will also get hurt. Yes student, if you know the answer of this question, you can type your answer in the comment section. Yes, while playing, if one of our friend fall down, do we go to near to him and get up him or not? Or have you listened ever that do not go near to him, you will be also get hurted? Yes, have you listened to it? No student, no. Actually, whenever anybody fall down, we go near to him and help him to get up. Okay, isn't it? Now let's see the next question. 2. Suppose your mother has a headache. Do you also get a headache if you go near her? Yes student, can you answer it? Yes, you can type your answer in the comment section. If your mother has headache, then if you go near to her, then will you get her headache to you? Yes student? No, obviously no. We will not get headache of mother's headache. Okay students? Now the next question. 3. When is it that you are told not to go near a sick person, not to use their utensils for eating or drinking, not to use their hankies, towels and clothes? Yes students, do you know the answer of this question? If you know, you can type the answer in the comment section. Yes student, most probably if a person has fever, influenza, cough, cold, viral fever, tuberculosis, swine flu, etc. If a person has these, then it is told to us that do not go near to him or do not use the things used by that suffered person. Yes student, have you understood? Very good. Now we will move forward. Students, first of all I will read it for you and then I will explain it to you. Infectious diseases. Mother's burns or grandpa's backache are not passed on from them to others. However, one has to take care to stay away from people who are ill with the flu, that is influenza, cold, ringworm, scabies, chickenpox. These diseases spread from one person to other. Such diseases are called infectious disease. Yes student, here the burns of mother, the backache of grandfather, okay, or grandpa we can say, these are not passed from them to others. Okay students, so such kind of diseases do not pass to others. But students, if a person has flu, that is influenza, or fever, viral fever, cold, ringworm, scabies, chickenpox, okay students, then we need to be away from that person because these diseases passes from one person to other person. Okay student, so such kind of diseases which passes from one person to other is called infectious disease, that it infects to other. Okay student, have you understood? Do you know the causes of such kind of diseases? Yes, if you know, you can type the answer in the comment section. Now let's learn the further part and try to understand it. They are caused by microorganisms. Every infectious disease is caused by a specific microorganism or germ. When the germs of a particular disease enter the body and begin to grow, the person gets the disease. Yes student, what is the reason behind the infectious disease? That the cause of the infectious disease is microorganism. Yes student, microorganism can't be seen by the naked eyes. Okay, we can say virus. Such kind of microorganism may be the cause of a infectious disease. When such kind of microorganisms or germs enters in the body of a person and it grows, and then afterward it affect or infect the person in which it is entered. Okay student, and when it grows, it means that the person is affected by that microorganism or germ and it cause the disease, that is infectious disease. Students, do you know how does such microorganism or germ affect the other person? Or can you tell me how does such kind of disease passed from one person to other person? Or what we can say, how does it affect to the others? Yes student, let's see. How is one person's disease passed on to another person? When a person has a cold, the germs from his body spread in the air when he coughs or sneezes. When these germs enter other people's body, they can also get the disease, that is the disease spread. Yes student, how does a disease of a person passed to the other person? Suppose or assume that a person has a cold. The germs or the microorganism of cold enters in the air when the person sneezes or coughs. Okay, and when the germs or microorganisms enter or spread in the air, and if the other person gets the same air or inhale the same air, then that time these microorganisms or germs of the cold enter into the other person and the germs grow into the body of that person and that person can be infected. Okay student, in this way such kind of infectious disease can be spread through air. Okay student, have you understood this much? Very good. And that is the disease spread. Okay students, yes, now let's move forward. Typhoid spreads when its germs are passed on by a person ill with typhoid to another person. In the same way, typhoid spreads when its germs passed from one person to other when a person is suffering from typhoid. Okay students, have you understood? In what way it spreads? Let's see further. Okay, now see students, let's have information about spread of infectious disease. It means how does the infectious disease spread. Okay, now see what are the different ways in which infectious diseases are spread or diseases spread. Okay so here we are going to study the ways of spreading the infectious diseases. Let's read first. Okay, spread of disease through air. The germs of a disease like influenza are present in the spit or saliva of the person who has the disease. When he coughs, spits or sneezes, they enter the air with the tiny droplets of saliva or spit. When other people breathe in that same air, the germs enter their bodies. How does the disease spread? For example, see, the germs of a disease like influenza, fever, viral fever are present in the spit or saliva of the person who has the disease. Okay, students? And when the person sneezes or spit, that spit contains the microorganisms. When the person coughs, sneezes, that time these microorganisms enter in the air, and when a other person breathe in it, okay, or inhale it, that time the microorganism enters into the other person's body and it grows there. When it grows there, the person get infected. Okay, students, and in this way such kind of diseases can be spread through air. Okay, students, now let's move forward. Diseases of the throat and the chest spread through the air, for example tuberculosis, swine flu, etc. Yes, student, diseases of the throat. Yes, student, this is a throat, and the diseases belonging to the throat and chest, okay, spread through air. Okay, students, yes, for example tuberculosis we can say, as well as swine flu or flu we can say, viral fever we can say, as well as just now the whole world has been suffering from the coronavirus, or we can say the COVID-19. Okay, student, and it is the disease of throat as well as the lungs or chest we can say, and it is rapidly spreading in the world, so it is called pandemic. Okay, student, have you understood? Yes, and right now we are facing the coronavirus, and because of that we are using continuously what, the mask, we are sanitizing our hands, we are washing our hands and all the things. So here it is very important to take care of wearing mask as well as sanitizing or washing your hands on regular basis. Okay, so coronavirus is also very dangerous virus which is spreading through the air only. Okay, now see student, that is why we are told to cover our nose and mouth when we cough or sneeze. That is why the elder people tell us that whenever we sneeze or cough, we need to cover our mouth with a mask or a handkerchief or a cloth. Okay, student, have understood? Very good. So students, here what we have studied right now, we have studied spread of disease through air. Now we are going to study spread of disease through water. Okay, students? Yes. Now see student, here a picture has given on page number 122. Students, observe this picture and try to find out the answer of the question given here. What different activities are going on in the above picture? See student, in this lake or water reservoir, women are washing clothes. A man is washing buffalo in the water, as well as a man is carrying water, as well as some boys are swimming in the water. Yes, student, have you understood? Very good. Now student, let me read it for you and then I will explain it to you. The germs of diseases of the intestine like typhoid, cholera, diarrhea, as also of jaundice are present in the feces of the affected person. If the feces get mixed with water, the germs in it also enter in the water. If another person drinks water which has been contaminated by these germs, they enter his intestine too, and that person can get the disease. To prevent the spread of disease in this manner, it is best to avoid washing clothes and bathing in the water sources or defecating on the banks of the water, etc. Yes, student, here in the picture we have seen various activities are being done. Some are washing clothes, some are washing buffalo, some are taking water, some are swimming. Okay, so the germs of diseases of the intestine like typhoid, cholera, diarrhea, jaundice can be spread through water. Okay, students, if the feces of the person mixed in the water can be contaminated. What do you mean by contaminated, student? Contaminated means get polluted. Okay, it can be get more polluted if the feces of the person or excreta of the person get mixed in the water, that water can be get polluted. And if the people uses such kind of contaminated water or polluted water to drink, then if the water is contaminated with the excreta of the person who has suffered from typhoid, jaundice, diarrhea, then the other people also will be infected by that disease, that is typhoid, diarrhea as well as jaundice. Okay students, so it is the best way to avoid the water should not get polluted by such kind of faces of the people which has the microorganism of the diseases. Okay students, so here we should avoid washing clothes, washing buffaloes, swimming as well as what we can say defecating on the banks of the river. Dear students, defecating means discharging feces from bowels. Okay students, in short what we can say, doing toilet on the banks of rivers also one of the reasons for the spread of disease. Okay students, so here we need to avoid defecating on the banks of river so that we can avoid the spread of disease. Okay students, now first of all let me read and then we will learn it. Okay students, spread of disease through food. Can you tell what do you see in the picture? Student, here observe the picture given on page number 122 and try to answer it. What do you see in the picture? Yes student, in this picture we can see that it is a picture of canteen. People are sitting in the canteen, foodstuffs are being served, but it looks like unhygienic place. And the flies are there, insects are there, rats are there on the food. Have you observed the same? Now student, let me read it for you and then I will explain it to you. You may have heard of a number of people getting gastro or diarrhea after eating contaminated food at a function. Diseases spread through food. This is also called food poisoning. Yes students, we have heard a number of times that people getting gastro or they are suffering from gastro or diarrhea. What is the reason behind this gastro as well as diarrhea? One of the reasons is eating contaminated food. Okay, then how does the food get contaminated? And because of that contaminated food or polluted food, we get diseases like diarrhea and gastro. Most of the time we might have listened this word gastro and diarrhea. Okay student, have you understood? And student, when we eat such kind of contaminated food or polluted food, then we may suffer from the food disease or food poisoning. Student, most of the time or sometimes you might have absent in school and the reason behind it may be food poisoning. What do you mean by food poisoning then? It means that if you have eaten contaminated food, any kind of contaminated food, that time we suffer from gastro or diarrhea, or we may have loose motion in the morning. Okay students, so this is one of the reason, or food poisoning is one of the reason behind that. Okay, let's learn further. Let me read it for you. You have seen flies sitting on dirt. When they sit on faces of a person who has an intestinal disease, the germs of the disease stick to their legs. When some flies sit on our food, the germs enter the food. If we eat that food, the germs enter our body and we can get the disease. That is why it is important to always keep our food covered. Yes student, most of the time we have feast on open ground. What do we mean by feast student? Feast means offering food on a particular occasion, especially on celebrations. Okay student, so most of the time we might have enjoyed a feast too. But student, here what can happen? In the given picture you can see the flies are flying. Yes student, and such kind of flies can carry the germs. Okay, what kind of germs student? If a person has an intestinal disease and that fly can carry the germs of intestinal disease with it. And if suppose such kind of fly sits on our food, and if we eat such kind of contaminated food or which contains the germs of the intestinal disease, then the germs will stick to the food and it will enter into our body. If it enters with the food into our body, then we can be infected with that particular intestinal disease that person has. Okay, student, have you understood this much? Very good. So student, what is important here? It is very important to cover the food so that the flies will not sit on the food and the germs of the intestinal disease will not stick to the legs of the flies. Okay student, so always it is very important to cover the food at home as well as outside the home also. Okay, let's move further. Food is handled while preparing or serving it. If someone who has an intestinal disease handles or serves food without washing his hands properly, the germs sticking to his hands can enter the food. Food contaminated in this way can also cause disease. One must avoid eating it. Maintaining cleanliness everywhere is beneficial for our health. Yes, students. Again, one of the reasons of spreading disease is that handling food as well as serving food. If the person who handles the food while preparing or the person who is serving the food, if he doesn't wash his hands properly or sanitize his hands properly, then it can carry the germs of the diseases. And if he serves with the germs without washing it, then the germs can stick to the food. The food will enter into our body and then we will get infected. Okay, students, have understood? Yeah. So here what is important again? First of all, we have seen that the food should be covered. And here what is important to avoid the disease, spread of disease? Washing our hands properly. Cleanliness is very important. To maintain cleanliness is important here to avoid the spread of disease. Have understood? Very good. Now let's move further. Can you tell what steps will you take to ensure that dust and flies do not settle on the food in your house? Yes, student, can you tell what will you do to ensure that flies and dust do not settle on the food? Yeah? If you want to answer, type your answer in the comment section. Okay, students, let me tell you what we can do, students. We can cover the food. Always we need to cover the food so that dust as well as flies will not settle on the food. Okay, let me read it for you. Keeping food covered ensures that flies cannot sit on it. Dust and other rubbish in the surroundings also cannot enter it. This prevents the microorganisms from entering the food and the spread of disease is also prevented. Yes, students, this is one of the reasons that we can prevent the diseases. Okay? Yes, let's move further. The spread of disease by insects. Now, students, we are going to study the spread of disease by insects. You may be aware that one can get malaria from the bite of certain kind of mosquito. When this type of mosquito bites someone who has malaria, the malaria germs in that person's blood enter the mosquito's body. With the blood, it sucks. If this mosquito bites another person, the malaria germs enter that person's body too, and he too can get malaria. Insects like mosquito and fleas spread disease. That is why we must stop such insects from breeding. Yes, student. Now what we are studying? The spread of disease by insects. Student, we are aware about the bite of mosquito. If the mosquito bites us, what will happen, student? Yes, definitely we will suffer from malaria. Why will we suffer from malaria? Because if the mosquito earlier bites a person who has the disease malaria, then automatically what will happen? The germs of malaria will enter into the blood of mosquito, and then afterward, if that mosquito bites us, what will happen? The contaminated blood will enter into our blood, and we will be suffering from malaria. Okay, we need to prevent the spread of such kind of disease from the insects. Okay, students, have understood? Very good. So always we need to take care of mosquitoes, and because of that we can use nets at home while sleeping, as well as we can use various pesticides to kill the mosquitoes. Okay, students, have understood? Very good. Students, let's learn further. Spread of disease by direct contact. Ringworm, scabies are diseases that affect the skin. Their germs are found on the skin. If someone else comes in contact with the skin of a person having this disease or wears these clothes, then that person can get that skin disease too. That is why it is better to avoid sharing clothes. Yes, student, here what we are going to study now, the spread of disease by direct contact. Okay, direct contact. Most of the time we can have the disease if we have a contact with the infected person. Okay, student, that is called as skin diseases. For example, ringworm, scabies are diseases that affect the skin. Yes, ringworm we know, you can see in the picture so that you can understand. Scabies also a skin disease. Okay, our skin becomes red and red. It starts itching too. Okay, so scabies also one of the disease that you can infected because of the contact with the other person. So here, if their germs are found on the skin, and if somebody comes in contact with our skin, then he or she will get infected of that skin. So it is very important to avoid to come in contact with the other person, as well as we should not wear the clothes of infected person to avoid the skin disease. Okay, have you understood? Very good. Let's move further. An epidemic of a disease. Germs of diseases like the flu or conjunctivitis spread quickly through the air. Yes, student, most of the time we see that the germs of the diseases like flu and conjunctivitis. Flu we know that is fever, and conjunctivitis that is belonged to eyes. Okay, this is the disease of eyes. The eyes become red in conjunctivitis. Okay, and it can spread very quickly because of air. Okay, then so many people can get such diseases all at one time. So can happen if the disease spread because of the air, okay, or with the air, then so many of people can infected at a time. Okay, if the water of a common source is contaminated by germs of a disease like cholera, then there is the danger of all those who drink that water getting the disease. Okay, student, as because of the air, this disease can spread very quickly, and at a time a large number of people can be infected. In the same way, if the water is also contaminated and the people who will drink the contaminated water, then also there is a danger of getting infected. Okay, student, or spread of disease, for example cholera. Okay, if at some place mosquitoes breed in a large number, then many people there can get malaria. The same thing can happen if there is a breed of mosquitoes in a large number, then many people can get the malaria. Okay, students, have understood? Now see, when many people in one area get the same infectious disease all at the same time, we say that there is an epidemic of the disease. Okay, students, so what is epidemic here? Epidemic means what? When at a time a large number of people gets infected with the same disease, that is called as epidemic disease. Now student, I would like to answer the question which I have asked earlier. Now student, I will tell you the reason behind using mask. Nowadays we are using mask, we are sanitizing our hands because we all know that the whole world is suffering from the infectious disease, that is COVID-19, and this disease spreading because of the virus, that is coronavirus. and it is spreading through air. Okay, student, and it is the disease of lung. Okay, students, have understood? Very good. So, in the beginning, I wore mask. Okay, students, have understood now? Very good. You too, you need to take care of yourself and your family. Always wear mask and wash your hands or sanitize your hands. Okay, students, let's move further. Air, water, food, and insects are the mediums through which diseases spread. Hence, if everyone takes care to ensure that the germs do not enter our food, water, or air, and to prevent the breeding of insects that spread diseases, it is possible to prevent a disease from becoming an epidemic. For this, it is important for all of us to make cleanliness a habit. Yes, friend, here just now we have understood that what are the reason or what are the ways of spreading disease. Air, water, food, as well as insects are the medium of spreading the disease. So we need to avoid that air should not be contaminated, water should not be contaminated, as well as we need to avoid breeding of insects so that we can avoid spreading the disease as well as epidemic of disease. Okay, students, have understood? Very good. So student, here we have studied the ways of spreading diseases or how does the disease spread. Okay, in the next video we are going to study the further part of this chapter, that is prevention of infectious diseases. Okay, students, if you have liked this video, like it, share it to your friends. Do not forget to subscribe and comment below the video. Okay, students, as well as press the bell icon so that you will get current notification of new videos. Thank you. Be connected, be thoughtful, be studious, respect your parents and teachers. Thank you.